Good morning, everyone. How's it going? Love the title, Happy Pancake. How are you? I know the stream said like 3 minutes left to go, but I lied. It's okay. It's okay. The problem is I want, like, for Twitch, here's the deal. This countdown timer was originally made, well, it wasn't originally made, but on Twitch we have a 5-minute countdown timer, which makes more sense for the nature of Twitch. But for YouTube, I think 2 minutes is enough, and I have to get that edited. I want something there so I can have this up for a few minutes, but yeah, I'll get that edited to a 2-minute timer at some point. But in any case, let's go ahead and dive into this. Got a whole lot. It's been 3 weeks, or like 4 weeks or something. It's been too long. It's been too long since our last live, and now it's time to go ahead and dive into this. We are currently, what's up the titles? Let's go through this. First of all, Nick Binekers, good midday. Good midday to you, sir. Or yeah, I mean for me it's morning, but I still got my coffee, still slowly going through it. I went to bed at 3:30 last night. Coming back from Toronto, catching up with all the post-holiday stuff. It's currently holiday season for me and all that stuff, and so I'm catching up with everything. And went to bed at 3:30 last night. Got up at 8:30 this morning. 5 hours of sleep. That's plenty. Arguably too much if you're thinking about it. But yeah, so that's basically that situation. Over there we have Happy Pancake. Love the title. Yes, so the reason for the title is... Wait, what do you mean, Professor Meg? Professor Meg, here's the deal. Meg messed up. How did you mess up, Meg? If you're referring to the countdown timer, you made the countdown timer. I did not. I tried figuring it out. I couldn't figure it out. I turned to you. I don't think I asked you for a 2-minute timer. I don't think you messed up at all. But anyways, thanks for the timer, Meg. But John Oliver, good morning. Nick Binekers, hope to see you at Essen at some point. I think I'll be at Essen next year. This year, timing-wise, things just didn't work out with the other conflicts I had going on, with the other things in my schedule, and there's only so much time I can actually spend away from my family. But I hope to be at Essen next year. We'll see. But past that, going back to the title, the what's next no idea to me is just the fact that for the past 5 weeks, I have been, for the past more than 5 weeks, the past like 10 weeks, I've kind of mentally known that I had a whole bunch of things coming up right now. I had WSBG where I was going to be away for a week, and then I was jumping into holiday season, which meant I was going to be absolutely just crazy overwhelmed. And so for the past like 12 weeks or whatever, I've kind of mentally had on my plate, gotta get prepped, gotta have videos, gotta this, gotta that, gotta that. I was working towards this like 2-week period where I was going to be basically AWOL for close to 2 weeks, and had to figure out just how to make sure my content calendar was up to date. And so I've had this kind of mental thing on my radar, and now that's gone. That doesn't mean things are over. There's plenty of things happening. PAX Unplugged is going to be in December. There's going to be multiple trips in between and there. I may be going to England sometime before then. There's a whole bunch of things that will still be there and present, but none of these things are like giant 2 weeks time blocks of time. And so I kind of feel a little opener and freer, which is good in many ways, not least of the fact is having taken on a job at GameFound, there's a lot of responsibilities there as well, and there's a lot of catching up I have to do, which is good across the board. Where are we? Okay, John Oliver, good morning. Xylbo, first time catching a live stream at the start. Glad you made it. I was a few minutes late, so you had that advantage. John Oliver, I'm at Devon at Essen. Next time you, yeah, I wanted to go to Essen. I definitely wanted to go to Essen. Yeah, absolutely. John Oliver, Met Devon Essen, okay. Reed McCullough, I missed you. Happy to have a good Wednesday again. Yes, I have missed these for sure. Professor Meg, oh my gosh, realizing that's a Witcher shirt. Yes, this is my Witcher shirt. Toss a coin to your Witcher. Got this when the TV show showed up on Netflix, and yeah. Zalbo, GameFound CMO definitely needs to be at Essen 2023. GameFound CMO needed to be at Essen 2022 as well, except for the fact that I already had everything lined up and had to make plans around all of that. So there's always that behind that catching up fast. Jay Nevers, will your wife be back in the channel in the near future? Yes, Jay. My wife hasn't left the channel. She generally shows up in roughly 1 video a month. We usually do a what we backed once a month. I think we're filming it tonight. It should go up later this week, so you can check that out. But yeah, she's still around. From there, going back to just general catching up and things like that. So, I have a whole bunch of things on my general radar as far as things I'm trying to get done. I have next to me, I have Skyrim, which I need to unbox at some point. But this is something that I want to unbox and then hopefully start getting played. I've already played this on TTS only because the prototype they originally had was only on TTS. But I have this on my radar as far as things I need to unbox and play. I have, what do I have? I have Dark Souls, which I don't want to grab the box for. Well, I could grab the box a little bit, but I don't want to mess it up. I have Dark Souls over here. This is something that I started setting up and playing this. I started this past week, halfway through the rules, but have not actually started playing it. I have Endless Winter. I want to go through the solo mode. I have Mosaic. I need to unbox that, and I want to play through the solo mode. I just heard over on Twitch, one of our viewers said that they just played the solo mode of Mosaic, and they found it hard and compelling, and so I want to do that. In general, one of the things I kind of want to do, but we'll see what happens. I might... Basically, Wednesdays right now are a live stream, and then followed by either an unboxing or gameplay. And so gameplay-wise, I have a bunch of gameplays coming up. Today might be an unboxing, just because I'm behind enough on things, so I might do a Dark Souls unboxing later today. We'll have to see about that. Or there might be a Terraforming Mars gameplay that was supposed to be Patreon only, but hasn't gone up in like 3 or 4 months, so we might do that instead. We'll figure it out. There's a lot of options there to go through. But yeah, either way, lots of stuff to catch up on. I have like 15 videos I need to do today. Just the holiday season is definitely intense. The Jewish holiday season, for context. The Jewish holidays in general have roughly 10 to 12 days a year that you're off. Offline, basically. The problem with those is about 7 of those are always in late September, early October, which means this is the craziest jam-packed season. So I was offline Monday, Tuesday, 3 weeks ago. Then I was offline Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. Then I was off Monday, Tuesday this past week. And I'm off Monday, Tuesday next week. It's basically 7 days in like a 4-week period, which is a lot. Let's see. Smooth Rivera, good morning, Alex. Good morning, Smooth. How are you? Jay Nevers, will you be entering Castle Burgundy next WSBG? That is a tough one. So a few things with WSBG. The first thing is that WSBG next year is the first 2 days of WSBG are going to be on the high holiday of Yom Kippur. Speaking of those 7 holidays. So I will not be there for the first 2 days, which means any games that are on the first 2 days, inherently I will not be competing in. I hope to be there for the last 3 days, but I won't be there for the first 2. So that's off the table. So if Castle Burgundy is in the first 2, done. I'm off. The second problem is that I need to figure out how to balance wanting to participate more in WSBG versus the fact that if I actually win something, which is less likely, let's be honest, it's not likely that I'm going to, well, we'll get to why it's less likely in a second, but if I actually do win it all, then the problem is I might be committed. If I enter Castle of Burgundy, I am hypothetically committed for anywhere between 2 hours to like 10 hours of the day. And when I go to WSBG, I have other things that I sign up for, other responsibilities. As a VIP, I'm not overly reading into the title, but as a guest or whatnot, I do other things. I sign up for like, gameplays with other people, for hanging around, for interviews, for commentating. All these other things means there is a potential downside to signing up for actual games. So it's something I have to be mindful of and balance as I go through things. But anyways, point is that for something like Castle of Burgundy, I definitely would love to enter it, but I have to be mindful of those balances. That's why this past year I entered Seven Wonders, because Seven Wonders is a game that I can enter Seven Wonders and not worry what happens next. I can play Seven Wonders all day long if I actually win, and I'm still only committing maybe 3 hours of my time tops. So that's the balance of what's going on there. Like maybe I'll enter Patchwork. Patchwork would be fun. I like Patchwork. But secondly, as far as why I'm less likely to win, there's something that in general, as far as not being likely to win, is I am jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to board games. You hand me a new board game and you hand somebody else a new board game, there's a decent chance I'm competitive in that game against somebody else who's never played it. The benefit of playing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of different games is that I can pick up things a lot quicker. The downside is I'm never going deep into a game. And this is something you learn very quickly, especially if you play online against strangers. You're like, hey, I know Race for the Galaxy. I'm good at Race for the Galaxy. You pop on Board Game Arena, and before you know it, you've been stomped into the ground by somebody who's actually good at Race for the Galaxy. I've had that experience multiple times in multiple games. I know that I am good at games within my game group, and I'm good at a variety of games. I am not dedicatedly good at most games. There are some I might be. Castle of Burgundy, I have been playing for 12 years. I might be competitive in that. I'm not saying I will be competitive. I'm saying that one, maybe I make it to the second round. Maybe. Who knows? Anyways, that's the overall point as far as why I'm less likely to win. So it's just balance. Like, we'll see. I remember I was talking to Tom at WSBG, and he's like, I did a video once of 10 games I could actually take you at. Why 10 games? Because I could actually take you at only 10 games, not a lot. When you're doing content creation, like I was talking to people who played, there's one person who's like, yeah, I've been playing for Azul. I played 102 games on BGA the last few weeks. I'm like, I'm not playing 102 games of anything to be competitive. I kind of want to. It's not a priority. Kyoto just received Dog Park. Back because it's so cute. Have you played? Any thoughts? I did not play Dog Park. I saw the campaign. It looked interesting. the starting baseline is I'm not a pet person. So even though the art and theme and everything seemed really well done, it's not my go-to theme. As far as mechanics, it didn't seem like, I think if I recall correctly, it was pick up and deliver, which is not my go-to mechanic in general. So there's that. Oh, speaking of which, I have Isis Vanguard, as Kevin just commented. And so I have Isis Vanguard as well, in addition to Skyrim. And there's so many games. There's so many games, I'm going to be so far behind there. Nick Minnikers, thanks for your constant reminders. I've been able to buy a lot less board games recently and not be caught in the now hype. Sadly, it also includes watching a lot less of you and others' videos. Yes, Nick, whenever I talk about ways to spend less money on board games, one of the things I do say is spend less time watching videos. The board game space, between forums, between Facebook, between videos, content creation, they're all constantly shoving stuff into your face on a regular basis. And I'm part of that problem. And it's a part of the problem that I feel bad for, but I'm going to keep doing because it's the nature of being a content creation channel. If I only show you the old stuff, the channel fades into the background. And so I always do show the new stuff, although top 10 lists and top 100 of all time, those things will constantly show you more of the old stuff. But so yeah, we'll see what happens there, but not we'll see what happens there, I don't know why I said that, but yeah, watching fewer videos is definitely going to help you spend less money. Happy Pancake, just bought Aquatica and love it. Cold Waters is arriving today. I'm glad you liked Aquatica. I liked Aquatica from the get-go, even before I played Cold Waters, but Cold Waters certainly made it better. I was going to say hotter, but that's too much of a pun. Reed McCullough, the Game Crafter Dragons reviews seem very unlike your usual games you look at. Can you speak to why that was reviewed? Reed, I can definitely speak to why it was reviewed. So, the first baseline is the person who did Dragons of Etchinstone. So, I'm not sure what you mean by type of games I look at. Also, if you hear a noise in the background, it's because kids are all home for holidays and that stuff, so you might hear more noise in the background. But if you mean the type of game itself, or if you mean print and play production, I'm not sure what you mean. Because I reviewed Dragons of Etchinstone, which is an 18-card handheld game, effectively, where you go on an adventure and you either go on journeys or you fight monsters. And you're trying to balance, effectively, a numbers game all in your hand. Very similar to a game called Palm Island, if you've ever played that, which is a game I played once upon a time. Resource management, again, all in your hand, managing that. Very interesting system. Really enjoyed it, but also not a game I kept. Dragons of Etchinstone, to me, there's two reasons you might think it's not a game I'd review. One is the style of game, which I think it is the style of game I'd review. I like button shy games in general. Two is it's a Game Crafter print and play, which is not the style of game I review, which that part I agree with. As far as why I reviewed it, the creator of Dragons of Etchinstone is also the creator of Gloomholden. And if you've been following our adventures over on Twitch, you know that I've been playing a whole lot of Gloomhaven recently, and so I was very interested in Gloomholden. And so he sent me Gloomholden and Dragons of Etchinstone. I covered Dragons of Etchinstone first because of the fact that that was attached to like a game date or release date or whatnot, versus Gloomholden's already around. So that's the conversation there. DVC Beer, off topic, game found question. How do you unfollow complete a campaign? I have a bunch that I never backed but followed. DVC, I don't know offhand. Can you not? So here's what I would say. Try to go to the campaign page offhand and see if you can click unfollow. Additionally, if it's showing you a pledge manager, you might have to click first on show me the original campaign. There's a little link to that, and then try to click unfollow. I'm saying this with no knowledge of if it actually works or not, because I'd have to look into it. I'm pretty sure I have unfollowed completed campaigns. I just don't remember doing so. I'm just pretty sure as a user, not as a GameFound employee. As a user, I'm pretty sure I've done that. Kalo, finally, everything I backed 2+ years ago is showing up all at once. Kalo, this is a very difficult time. I wish you the best of luck. Kevin, having played a bit of Ice Commander yourself, or at least looked at how important or worthwhile are the minis, I didn't get them to start with, but I want to know if worth getting with Wave 2. So Kevin, I covered this doing the Kickstarter campaign. That's not true. I covered this doing the GameFound campaign. In general, Awakened Realms games, they package their miniatures separately, and they are 100% unnecessary. You could get them, and they will slightly enhance your experience, but the word slightly is key. Because very often, many of the miniatures you encounter are one-time encounters or infrequent encounters where you don't need them a lot. So you're buying a miniature so that you could, like, 3 times across the course of your 100-hour campaign, pull it out of the box. You can use any standee, and you can use any other standee or any other miniature in its place, and what you're effectively paying for is that extra degree of immersion of, look, it's that miniature, but you also have to pay for that, and you have to have a box next to you where you're pulling out all these miniatures, so it's extra setup, extra maintenance, all those things. Should you do it? Only if you think you want to, despite me telling you I think you shouldn't. I think if you're being conservative with your money, you should not back the extra minis in Awakened Realms campaigns, including Tainted Grail, Kings of Rune. I think those things in general are beautiful extras for those who want them, and if you're asking my opinion on whether you should get them, the answer is always no. Keep in mind, I do always get them, and yes, that was before. Now, as a GameFound employee, I haven't actually checked, but I'm pretty sure I get those things for free. But even when I paid for all this stuff, I still got them. But you shouldn't. Do as I say, not as I do. Daniel S., any news on Death May Die Season 3? Yes, Death May Die Season 3, I'm so excited for it. So, the short version, let's go into like a 2-minute little tangent on this. Let me just see if I'm missing anything in chat. Nope. Okay, we got some questions we'll get to. Death May Die Season 3. A few things to cover there, although I may blow my nose. Give me a second. You can mute if you don't like this 1 second. Apologies. Death May Die Season 3 is coming out shortly from CMON, and I have a few pieces of information. First of all, the core box is going to be similar to the original core box, same number of miniatures, missions, all that stuff, although Kickstarter, extras, exclusive, all that stuff will obviously be different. But they have a few things that are different. The first is they have a new concept of variable monsters that are added to your campaign with rules as to how they come out. So to make the game harder and to make it more variable, because if you know Death May Die, you combine an Elder One and a scenario, and between those you have all the monsters preset. So there's no real room to have random monsters in your campaign, in your mission, in your scenario. But now there will be. So now every time you replay a scenario, you might play the first scenario for the 14th time like I have, but now you can play it every time with I believe it's two different monsters that will be added to the game, mixing up your experience, and now you're facing off against whatever scenario 1 is, against whichever Elder One you want, with 2 random monsters, with rules as far as how they come out. To balance the game, because of the fact that makes it harder, the players will have, I believe, relics if I'm not mistaken. They'll have new relics that you can add. Combine that with new Elder Ones, new content, new investigators, and you basically have more content for Death May Die, as well as some new rules as far as how things are integrated between things to make it more variable, which is awesome because I've played Death May Die like 60 plus times by now. Amazing game. Love the experience every single time. And yeah, there will be a physical prototype on the road, and at some point or another, I will be covering said physical prototype. CMON does not always send me their prototypes to cover, but they know how I feel about Death May Die, and it's basically free positive press unless they've majorly screwed it up. So that's Death May Die Season 3. As far as will they have the original content, I don't know yet. They might. I don't know. I haven't asked. Jack Finlayson, and even if I asked, I don't know if they'd tell me. I love the collaborations between BoardGameCo and Quacklope. After Sicko, will we see you... Wait. I've loved the collaborations between BoardGameCo and Quacklope. After Sukkot, will we see you doing your thing? I don't know what doing your thing means. I don't know if you're asking, are there more collaborations? I don't know if you mean, I don't know what your question is. If you want to clarify your question, happy to answer it. Board Game Officer. So old game, but what are your thoughts on Sword and Sorcery? I played Sword and Sorcery once, and I was more than once, like a few times, but once upon a time I played Sword and Sorcery, and I'm very happy to see that the Tabru system will be handling Sword and Sorcery, because my opinion of Sword and Sorcery was it was a great game with a little bit too much overhead for it to be worthwhile for me. There were other games I'd rather play. I thought it was a great game. It really did. It was very, very solid. But there's too much to manage as far as enemy AI, and I just wasn't as invested in that. I think the Tabru system is a great way to have the Sword and Sorcery game being managed by a digital system. I think it's a good collaboration. I'm intrigued. We'll see. Ultimately, time will tell, but I'm very excited for that one. Zylbell. I feel participating in WSBG is a good way to win a game for you. Once you deep dive, nobody at home will play that with you because no normal player. So Zylbell, I don't disagree with you. I didn't actually think about that, but I don't disagree with you at all. I know there are a few games, I think 3 specifically, Galaxy Trucker, Tigris and Euphrates, and A Few Acres of Snow. There are 3 games ever in my history of playing games where I played them so much that I always won against other players. There are only 3 games that, and again, other players in my group, not other players online. If I go online and play A Few Acres of Snow, I'll be destroyed. But there are 3 games that I got good enough that it kind of ruined the experience for me and I had to get rid of them. And that can absolutely happen if you tried playing competitively in WSBG. The thing for me is, even if I do play Castle of Burgundy in WSBG, I won't be practicing for it past 1 or 2 extra games, because I don't have the kind of mental... It's one of those weird things where competing and seeing what happens is fun. Spending hundreds of hours playing Castle of Burgundy and losing is not. And yes, there's obviously a monetary conversation involved as well. How much do you pay? Was the event worth it? But honestly, if you get the larger packages of WSBG, and understand that at some point I will get a referral thing, but not yet. But if you get the larger packages for like the hotel rooms and stuff included, then you're paying a very minimal amount, and it's very competitive to any convention in general. Plus there's Dice Tower West Libraries there and all that stuff. So if you're paying like $1,100 to go to WSBG, that includes the rooms, that includes everything, that includes games, well worth it. And at that point, I'd rather just have fun than be like, oh my gosh, I practiced so hard at Castle of Burgundy and I didn't even make it to the second round. As opposed to, I didn't practice at all for Castle of Burgundy and I didn't make it to the second round. 2 very different mental commitments as far as how that works out. Andrew Ebert, I just got into Too Many Bones and absolutely love it. Where do I go from here? More Too Many Bones. There's plenty of Too Many Bones to buy, so if you're asking about Too Many Bones, just there's more Too Many Bones. There's characters, there's packs, Undertow's great, lots and lots of content, all of it's good. Xylobo is compatible anymore. I think you're finishing off your previous sentence. Q2, planning on attending. Is my chat today? It is. Yes. Q2, planning on attending PAX Unplugged. Will be my first convention. Thoughts on not going crazy, buying too many games? I'm sure it'll be tempting. Q2, the first thing I would say, Sorry to all people who are selling games at conventions, but whenever you buy a game at a convention or you want to, just check how much it is online. If you're spending $45 to buy a game that you can get for $32 on Game Nerds, just buy it at Game Nerds later. Just like add it to your cart as you go through the convention. That's the first way to potentially save money. The second is, I think, understanding just what you get out of a convention. Sometimes some of the fun is getting the new hotness. That can absolutely be a thing, and sometimes it's worth splurging a little bit on that. Set yourself a budget, whatever that budget might be. Maybe you send, MacPax Unplugged, it's a 3-day convention. In addition to the cost of the convention, I'm allowing myself $300 to spend on games. Do something like that if you want, and then hopefully don't break it. But for me, I think most of the fun of a convention, to me, is not buying games, it's the general experience. Buying games I can get later and often cheaper, and so that's my big, I guess, help, so to speak. Like, I go to conventions, and I don't come back. The first convention I went to, I came back with a lot of games. But since then, I've come back with fewer and fewer. And I do come back with some. At the end of the day, I do review board games, and that does mean sometimes somebody hands me a game to review. It happens. I'm not complaining. I don't mean like, oh my gosh, woe is me. I don't mean that. I'm very grateful for it. But it is, I would say, less and less. I don't think I spend money on games at conventions anymore. I try to avoid it. The first conventions I went to, I did. But since then, yeah. Sean Long. Wait, nope, not up to you, Sean. Callow, will you be putting up a review of Oathsworn prior to the next Kickstarter? I am through Chapter 9 and loving it. Yes, in fact, I believe Sunday's video is going to be a semi-review on Oathsworn. I say semi-review because I haven't played it enough to really call it a review, but I've also played it enough that I'm past first impressions. So I kind of addressed that in the review, saying, hey, I've played this, and I like it, and I played it enough to actually enjoy it and think well of it, but also I haven't played very far into it. The only reason I'm putting it up now is because they have a Kickstarter campaign coming, and so it's a balance of, in general, I'd rather give the most accurate information, where the flip side is sometimes time-sensitive information is better than more accurate. So sometimes I will put up a review or first impressions because time-sensitive information is important. And that's the case of Oathsworn. So yeah, I'll have a review going into it, but it's more than just my own opinion. I talk about some other interesting things about Oathsworn, including the fact that it may well be the best board game in existence, depending on how you look at things. We'll cover more about that very intense thought later in my Sunday video. Notaro, do you plan on playing Chronicles of Runeterra again with the new updates? Notaro, yes, I absolutely plan on playing Chronicles of Runeterra again. The key word is plan. There are so many games I plan on playing, and the reality is that some of them I get to, some of them I don't. There's just too many games, and many of them are deep dive campaign experiences that even though I'm cutthroat in what I keep and all that stuff, it's still like, Ice of Vanguard is a good example. I don't know why I'm pointing there. It's not, where is it? Where's Ice of Vanguard? Where did I put Ice of Vanguard? I must have put it somewhere, right? It's a board game. It's down here. It's down behind me. Ice of Vanguard is a good example of a game that I played it, and I went like 10 hours plus into it, and I should play it again, and I plan on playing it again, I plan on diving into it more, but also, the question is always when. So campaign games in general, I've been doing a lot more of over on Twitch. Twitch is how I've been diving primarily into campaign games, but even then, there's only so many campaign games you can play. Over with Professor Meg, I've been playing through Gloomhaven, through Roleplay Adventures, through Hoplomachus Victorum. We just started Wild Ascent. Anything else that I missed? Tainted Grail we meant to start. We didn't start yet. I may end up doing that one solo just to get some content, because I told you I'd get some content out before the campaign, so we'll see. Or I may play it remotely, I don't know. But yeah, I'm diving into campaign games, but the reality is campaign games are a commitment, and even diving through 4 campaign games still leaves like 15 unplayed. So yes on all these things, but in terms of planning, but practical reality is a question, so we'll have to see. Let's see. Tony Ackley, you can unfollow GameFound campaigns using the unfollow link that shows up in the same spot as the follow button. So yeah, that sounds right. But is that true, Tony? Is that true after the campaign is done? That's, I assume, the question, but I assume the answer is yeah. I remember I'm doing this. Board Game Officer, what are they coming up with for Sword and Sorcery? A different app? Yes, Board Game Officer. Tebaru has announced. Tebaru is a system that they did the Bad Karmas and the Curse of the Zodiac, and they've announced that what's it called? They have announced that they are doing Sword and Sorcery. They've announced that they are doing Sword and Sorcery, as well as, I believe, Vampire the Masquerade, or one of those systems, in their future games. So we should expect to see that as far as things go. Sean Long, any speculation on CMON's big announcement Friday? Sean, what was CMON's big announcement Friday? You're referring to Death May Die, in which case I covered that around 10 minutes ago. Maybe 8 minutes ago. Don't know. Tony Ackley, Board Game Officer, look up Tebaru or the Bad Karma. There we go. Thank you. Perfect. Brian Hand, have you been able to dive more into Tainted Grail? Brian, sadly not. That was one of the games I brought to WSBG, but the practical reality is we ended up playing a lot of different games, and Tainted Grail did not happen. So either Tainted Grail will be played solo by myself to get some more experience with it, or I'll reach out to Professor Meg and maybe we'll do some stuff, maybe even not on Twitch, perish the thought, but maybe we'll just do some stuff just so we can cover the game. I know she wants to dive into that as well. So we'll see. I do hope to have content before the campaign is over, but no guarantees because busy. Q2. Alex, when will Professor Meg be joining you again on live Q&A? Love the interaction. Q2, great question. Meg and I usually do, well, there's a few possible answers there. The first is that, in general, Meg generally joins the Q&As when we are in the same physical location. Usually that means when I travel to her, when she travels to me, and that for a short period of time, because of publisher commitments, that was like very, very frequent. It was like 3 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 3 weeks. So it was happening a lot more often. But I don't know. I think the next time might be in a few weeks. I think. But she'll be on these here and there. But it might be every 5 weeks, every 6 weeks. I don't know exactly when. The second answer, though, is there is a possibility that this live Q&A in the morning. For those who don't know, just I guess minor updates. For those who don't know, I've hired Devin. Devin Talks Tabletop is joining BoardGameCo, so to speak, as far as doing different content on the channel. What that exactly looks like is something we're still figuring out, but he will be on a bunch of videos. You can probably give it a little bit of time for things to happen, so to speak, but over the next, let's say fast forward 6 weeks from now, and you can probably expect to see at least one video a week from Devin Talks Tabletop, possibly 2 on the channel. And one might be his own, one might be a collaborative. We're figuring out the exact pattern and tempo of different things, but Devin's involved in BoardGameCo a little bit more. Similarly with Professor Meg as well. That hasn't started yet, but Professor Meg also, there's going to be some things as well that she'll be doing for BoardGameCo. And again, part of this, we don't have exact plans. There is the possibility that this Wednesday morning live Q&A turns into a Wednesday morning kind of breakfast show conversation with the 3 of us remotely. There's a possibility. No promises, but we'll see what happens there. Let's see, Professor Meg, let's add another night. Oh, you're referring to streaming and campaign games. Meg, if we can find the time, I'm happy to make it happen. Maybe it's not a night. Maybe it's a morning. Maybe that's the options, because my nights at this point are all lined up at this point, except for Monday night, which I think is reserved for like my actual friends in real life who I can't abandon them more. That'd be bad. But either way, if you have the time, I'm happy to have the conversation. Well, bro, Come On making another announcement this coming Friday. I assume that's what they meant. I don't know anything about Come On's other announcement this coming Friday. Apologies. Carson Simmons. Morning, Alex. Have you been able to dive into any Crimson Scales content? I'm thinking of tracking down, but I'm curious what your thoughts were. Carson, my opinion of Crimson Scales, I played it once for context, not a lot. In fact, Professor Meg, who's in the chat right now, might be able to answer you more. I know she dove into it a bit more. But as far as Crimson Scales, I thought it was fantastic. But it's more Gloomhaven, meaning I don't think you need Crimson Scales if you still have Gloomhaven or if you still have Jaws of the Lion. I think it is incredible if you are done with those and you want more content. It provides, I think, up to 14 more classes, like 60 more missions. It is a ton more content, and it's amazing. But it's also more Gloomhaven. I just don't think you need it if you have Gloomhaven stuff to go through. Unless you have Gloomhaven stuff to go through, but you really want more characters. The 14 characters, there are some really cool characters out there. Very, very fascinating stuff. I think it's worth watching. I think it's worth getting, not watching, but only if you need more content. It's not different, it's more. Well, I guess some of it's different inherently. Dun dun dun. Boarding officer, thank you. I'll look it up. Marshall, when you go to Poland for GameFound, will you visit other publishers like Portal? Marshall, I have no such plans. I'm not against the concept, but the practical reality is if GameFound's bringing me in, they're they are definitely paying the bill as far as bringing me in, and that also means that they might want my time. And so I don't have specific plans. I'm not against them, but we'll see. Eric Moon, wasn't it Assassin's Creed? Wasn't what Assassin's Creed? I mean, Assassin's Creed is a game I'm actively in middle of, like, 17 missions in. I played it like very heavily for like 3 or 4 weeks and then stopped and haven't dove into it yet. But I refuse to get rid of it because I love it. So there's that. Cadius, morning. Good morning, Cadius. How are things going over there? Nidamir PL, hello after break. Hello, Nidamir. Also, by the way, this will probably be a hard stop at 11 just because I have another call that I'm hopping on that I'm not even sure if I'm invited to, meaning I'm on the invite for the other call, but I think it's a mistake, but I still want to hop on and say hi, so we'll figure that out. Professor Meg. No, not Professor Meg. Callo, one of my favorite videos of all time was you doing a video with Devin behind you, writing on a whiteboard and holding up comments. I love my interactions with Devin. He is a prince. I love Devin. He's great. And yeah, I heavily wanted, when I heard he wanted the and for those who don't know, he was working with Quacklope a lot, but he's doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Quacklope, which wasn't as much what he wanted to do. And at the time, given the remote options, it wasn't as viable for him to do more media stuff with Quacklope, and so he's shifting over to BoardGameCo to do stuff. The funny thing, by the way, is if you really want to go far back enough, originally Devin reached out to me when he first started joining the space and wanted to do stuff together with me, but I just didn't have the budget to be able to justify that. Even now, it's basically me even now it's me kind of signing up to potentially take a loss with the hope that it helps the channel, and also he might be doing preview content similar to the way that Mark, oh my gosh, blanking his name, Mark Street. Similar to the way that Mark Street does preview content for the Dice Tower, so that Tom can remain separate, but Mark can do stuff, Devin might do that stuff. And then when he does, he will not be involved in the opinion piece of that content. So it's keeping, I don't mind previews, I do mind opinions that masquerade as previews, personal opinion only. And so, yeah, we'll figure that out. But point is that I welcomed and jumped at the opportunity to have Devin join the channel more once I was in a position where I was able to have that conversation. Dale Rancourt. Nope. Professor Meg. Well, to be fair, if you enjoy the classes in Crimson Scales, they can be played in Gloomhaven proper, so if you love Gloomhaven and want the people, some are very fun. Yes, Professor Meg, I completely agree. Going to my own experience with Gloomhaven, for example, I played through the Mind Thief, loved the Mind Thief, and then tried diving into new characters, not really loving any of them. I would have loved to have the roster of Crimson Scales characters available in digital Gloomhaven to be able to pump them in and just jump into them. I would have loved that. As it was, I had to wait and eventually find the Scoundrel and fall in love all over again. But yeah, that's the, so yeah, I agree with the character variety. Dale Rancourt, is Wonderland's War worth owning in comparison to other related games? Personal thoughts. Dale, I don't know yet. Right now, Wonderland's War falls in the category of being a game I really enjoy, but also a game I'm uncertain of as far as its future in my collection. The practical reality is that area control, especially area control that can sometimes feel a bit longer than I would want it to be, the practical reality is that it's competing with Rurik and Inish and Blood Rage and Cyclades and Kemet and all these games that have managed to stay year after year and never, ever even remotely come close to leaving my collection. And so we'll see what happens with Wonderland's War. Will it be viable for competing for those spots? I really enjoy Wonderland's War. Make no mistake, I do. But that specific genre of a game that plays best at 3 and 4 players and plays in a 2-hour play count, time count, and is area control, it's just a hotly contested area of my collection, and so I don't yet know if Wonderland's War stays. I do know that I almost certainly will be backing the new content, so I'm still emotionally invested in it while not knowing how it holds up a year from now. Nuchuzo, do you train yourself to speak this fast and smoothly? Nuchuzo, great question. I don't train myself to speak fast. That happens naturally. I just speak fast, and I've always debated trying to slow it down here and there, but in general, the opinions on the channel seem to be that enough people like that I speak fast that I don't want to spend too much time slowing myself down. Sometimes I do speed it up, and then I have to be mindful to not speed it up even further, but yeah. As far as smoothly, that's a different conversation. There are all kinds of people on the internets in different ways, and there are all kinds of people who are not nice on the internets. I'm specifically referring to Reddit in general. Reddit is just, don't be a public persona and go on Reddit. Please don't. It's not good for your soul. But on Reddit, for example, there are many threads of people who don't like me, and I sadly end up reading those here and there. And one of the things that bothers me, personally, is I don't mind people who don't like me. I don't. People won't like you. That's how life works. That's not true. I'm lying. I want everyone to like me. But I recognize that can't happen, and so I move past that. What I don't love is sometimes you see comments about yourself that you feel are more reflective of reality and you feel are legitimate criticisms, and even though they're delivered in obnoxious, not helpful ways, they bother you more. So when people say I speak fast, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. But sometimes people will say things like, oh, that guy mumbles over his words. And that's something that does bother me. Like, it's one thing to speak fast, but I should always enunciate as much as I possibly can. And I will never be perfect at it. But it's something that I am more mindful of. The thing that I focus more energy and attention on is not trying to speak slower, it's trying to enunciate as I speak faster. In general, the biggest thing that will stop people from understanding you is that lack of enunciation. As soon as you start going through a sentence, you start pronouncing every single word. I mean, even then I was doing okay. But as soon as you start mumbling your words together, it's harder for people to pick it up, versus as long as you enunciate the start, the end as you go through a sentence, it's a little easier to people to follow, even if you are speaking quickly. So it's not training, it's mindfulness. And I still screw up. Kevin Hoyne, will your top 100 have a big shakeup this year, since you are playing a new game a day and you've jumped into some bigger games like Gloomhaven? Kevin, I assume there'll be some degree of shakeup. One thing I'm interested in is last year I did a bit of a retroactive difference between the year before and last year. I'm curious to see how my top 100 will do. I assume there will be a shakeup to some degree. There'll be games that leave, there'll be games that enter, there'll be games that move up. I don't yet have an idea because I don't actually try to focus on it at all until I'm ready to do it. I like it to be kind of as natural as possible, which means almost as last minute as possible. Successful. Good morning. How are you doing? Professor Meg. Yeah, I'd say if you love Gloomhaven, definitely consider it. They do a lot of creative things with the scenarios that are described as Gloomhaven with more flair, where they do playful things. Interesting. Tim Carter. The Command Assassin's Creed announcement was for an RPG. It's not their Friday announcement. I don't know anything about the Command Assassin's Creed announcement. Very cool. Eric Moon. I meant the next Command announcement I thought was Assassin's Creed. Don't know anything about that. Cadius. Things are going well. Got myself a couch delivered this morning, so the house is wrecked, and getting that overtime to make sure I can afford upcoming Kickstarters. Come on, looking at you. Yeah, life is expensive. Eric, come on, announcement on Friday has an image of 4 Zombicide games: Ankh, Rising Sun, Death May Die, and Massive Darkness. I have no idea what's going on with this stuff. I've been offline and AWOL for a lot, so I'm falling behind. Eric Moon, thoughts on Gloomhaven board game versus Gloomhaven digital? Eric, that's a great question. In fact, one of the things, and Meg, you might want to take notes on this if you're still here, but Meg and I, in general, like I said, our next visit is like late October at some point, and we generally put together a catalog of the games, or not catalog, a schedule of the games we're playing and the videos we're filming. I believe 2 of the videos we have planned for that trip is, I think, one for her channel, one for mine. Don't know the exact details, we figured out later. But I believe one we have is Gloomhaven digital versus Gloomhaven physical, and preferences on either or both. And I believe another one is how it feels to retire a character, and conversations around those things. So I think those are 2 videos we have planned. So we'll have more content for you, probably in a few weeks. Yugario, is Endless Winter 5 out of 5 for you? Yes, Endless Winter is a 5 out of 5 for me, has not gone down yet. JM, will Sanko Shushin ever actually be a thing that exists in the real world? JM, I've been wondering that myself. I just got a notification this morning that Access Mundi backed another STL Kickstarter, and I was wondering, oh yeah, that's a thing that's yet to happen. Marshall, I know his GameFan has not put you on the About Us team page yet. I like the way they do the line drawings with the green highlight. I didn't notice that at all. I'm going to have to give someone a hard time. Carson Simmons, yeah, I was looking for more characters more than anything. They all sounded pretty fun. Carson, if you're looking for more characters, highly recommend it. JM, I wonder if Rising Sun will finally get a reprint that tanks the price. Could be. The last reprint didn't really do much, not reprint, the Time Vault, or whatever it was called, the Command Time Machine, didn't really tank the price. I don't know if the next one will. Board Game Offer, Sir WSG, I assume you mean WSBG, include a section where you are given a new game and have 20 to 30 minutes to learn the rules, and then go straight into playing. That would be kind of a fun twist. Ooh, I like the premise. Oh my gosh, Meg, you should take notes on that. The idea, oh my gosh. And the reason I said Meg, you should take notes is Meg is potentially being more involved with WSBG from working for them, seeing things, or potentially we'll see. But a section where you're given a new game. I wouldn't even say that you have to learn it yourself. I'd almost say that someone teaches you a new game on the spot. I like the premise. And this also could be a great way for publishers to work together with WSBG to have their game highlighted. You know, just like to pick an example right now. Let's say, I don't know, Basilica. Basilica from Portal Games is having a reprint, and Basilica could sponsor the Basilica tournament where you're all taught Basilica and have to immediately play it. I really like the idea. It's very cool. Successful Geek. Sometimes Alex still likes people that don't like him. That's true. I didn't say I don't like people. I said I want everyone to like me. Ninja PL. The best combo are long videos where you speak really fast. Some people like it, some people do not. The part I always feel bad about is I have a lot of viewers who aren't native English speakers. And like they'll comment like, hey, I like your videos, but I can't always follow and keep up. And I feel bad about that. I feel like I should slow it down for them. But then I get a lot of people who are happy with the speed. It is what it is. Q2. Alex in the Heart of Darkness just hit my radar on Kickstarter. Looks interesting. Like the art. Are you familiar with it yet? Any thoughts? It sounds familiar. In the Heart of Darkness. It sounds familiar, but did I just cover that? I don't remember. Flash Doom. Thoughts on HOMM3? No idea what that is. Q2. Oh, is that Heroes of Might and Magic? That's Heroes of Might and Magic. Thoughts? I don't have thoughts yet. I just saw the campaign. I don't know anything about it yet. Q2. LOL, have gotten used to following your fast talking. I'm glad you've enjoyed. Jake Gardner. Or I'm glad you've gotten used to. You didn't say enjoyed. Jake Gardner. Had a few plays of Endless Winter and it feels like an attempt to shove as many mechanics in the game as possible, and for that, I love it. However, the animal strategy feels weak due to the randomness. Jake, don't you dare. Jake, here's the thing with the animal strategy. If anything, I feel the animal strategy is broken when you heavily go for it. I think the animal strategy is weak if you don't heavily... It's almost like science in Seven Wonders. You kind of have to heavily go for it or not at all. Because the randomness kills you if you're going for it a few times. The randomness is not as much of an issue if you really heavily dive into the animal strategy, and you can kill with that strategy in Endless Winter. Just heavily deep dive into animals. Eric Moon. Blood Rage gameplay with Meg or friends? I guess that depends on where we are. The next time Meg visits here, I'm happy to play Blood Rage. I know AP, Akiva Posen, would be happy to pop in and play Blood Rage. It's one of his favorite games, if not his favorite game. No, Terraforming Mars is his favorite game. One of his favorite games. So that should be easy over here. Meg's place, we're still trying to figure out overhead camera options and things. We definitely did something. So there are some stuff, there are options, but Blood Rage I'm absolutely down for. Paul Wooten, have you cooled on The Witcher Old World? Paul, not in the slightest. Granted, I haven't played it, so take that with a grain of salt, but I'm very, very excited for it. Like, I'm just very excited for The Witcher Old World. I think it's a game that I will enjoy both solo, as well as, well, not solo. Competitive. Benjamin Curtis, I can't remember if you have a special box for Marvel Champions. If you do, where did you get it? I can't. There's too much stuff to pull out. I do have a special box. It's from One Sharp Joe, and it's a giant wooden insert. Do I have any? No, I can't show it to you. I could, just to be work. But I do have a special box for Marvel Champions, and I got it from One Sharp Joe. One Sharp Joe, you can check him out on Etsy. I don't think he has his own website yet. Eric Moon has me covered. I think he got it from Etsy. You're correct. Cindy Johnson, if I could afford only one late pledge, which would you choose? Lords of Ragnarok or Storm Sunder? That is a hard question. I think it depends on your game group. Lords of Ragnarok is going to be a area control competitive game. Storm Sunder is going to be more of a 1 to 2 player narrative experience. I have a soft spot towards Storm Sunder because of how much I like Wild Ascent, but without actually knowing whether I'll like it. So I think I'd have to choose Lords of Ragnarok because at least I've played and enjoyed that, even though I definitely want to like Storm Sunder and will possibly change my answer as soon as I play it. But Professor Meg, I have fond memories of Basilica. Meg, you would. Meg, for context, stomped me into the ground like 60 points to 18 in Basilica. Like, she and I play a lot of games, but that was possibly the worst stomping I've gotten. Academy Champlu, Chag Sameach to you. For those who don't know what Chag Sameach is, that's Happy Holidays. Nidamir PL, with all announcements come on, I start to shift my game budget. Good luck, Nidamir. Hero Slack, just saw a date for Slay the Spire, looks interesting, but how can it satisfy the digital version? Hero, the one thing I can tell you here is that I have the same concerns about Slay the Spire, and then I played it, and then I really, really liked it. Now, to be very, very clear, when I played Slay the Spire, I had not played the video game in like 6 months. So I was playing Slay the Spire, the card game, and I really loved it, and it gave me Slay the Spire vibes. But I hadn't played the game in 6 months. The next day, I played Slay the Spire again, and was like, these are such good games. I'd kind of have to play them back to back to really compare them, but I can tell you that I really, really enjoyed Slay the Spire, the card game. Have you played Deep Madness? Are you planning on doing video on it since it's come back to Kickstarter? Mark, I have played Deep Madness a few times. I really liked it, but ultimately I feel other games like Massive Darkness and Zombicide captured my attention a bit more. I had complaints around Deep Madness, not enough to review it, but certainly I can talk about it when I'm doing my 2-back or not to back. Red Winter. I love it when I hear people say you talk fast while I am over here watching all your videos at 2x speed. Red Winter, I have done that. I do that particularly when I'm a little bit behind on things and I'm trying to timestamp as fast as possible. I can barely follow myself at 2x speed. I'm happy you can. Eric Moon, I'm planning to be at PAX Unplugged, but still working out to see the schedule to see if it's worth it. Are you going to be there for all 3 days? This will be my first. Eric, I will be at PAX Unplugged for all 4 days. What I mean by that is I'm actually going a day early because we have a few games lined up as far as, I think I'm playing Food Chain Magnet a day early, I think. I might be playing Twilight Imperium. There's options on the table. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I'm actually going, I believe PAX is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be there Thursday through Sunday if I'm not mistaken. Fritz Braun, Everdell Complete Collection, is the box ridiculously big or insanely big? From what I've seen, insanely big, but I haven't actually played it myself yet. I haven't actually gotten it myself yet. Sorry. I was about to talk and cough. Let's see. Mark Gonzalez, I believe it is monstrously large. Yes. Carson Simmons, I'm so excited for Cthulhu Death May Die Season 3. I have everything for it, but can't wait for more. I have a problem. Carson, it's only a problem if you haven't yet played all the stuff for Season 1 and 2. If you have, then of course you need more variety. So, like, and by the way, I'm being serious. I'm not even joking. When you back expansion after expansion for a game where you have not played everything you have, that's a problem. I continue getting all the LCG content for Marvel Champions because I'm worried it'll be out of print, and I slowly go through it. So I am way behind on Marvel Champions, and I keep getting more. Arguably a problem. What's another campaign? I'm trying to think. There must be other campaigns where I'm backing more content. What's it called? Too Many Bones on Burn Cycle, not Too Many Bones. Burn Cycle. I got all the expansion content for Burn Cycle. I have not gone through remotely narrative content. That's a problem. Death May Die, I've gone through all the content. I have no regrets about getting more content. Okay. Marshall, do you have the Too Many Bones Trove Chest? It came in last week and it's amazing. Stored everything. I do have the Too Many Bones Trove Chest, and it is indeed amazing, although it does ensure that Too Many Bones is never again going to be a travel game for you. If you keep one of the boxes, like if you keep Unbreakable, you can use that as a travel thing when you want, but it's still a bit of a pain to pull everything out that you need. Successful. I almost always watch 2x speed, too much content to watch at slow speeds. I agree with you, which is why I'm happy to talk fast as a service to all those who can benefit from it. And you can still put me on 2x speed, or you can watch Drunk Alex at 0.5 speed. Honestly, with all the AI stuff going on in the world, all the AI things that can be done, I'm kind of surprised we don't have a way yet where YouTube should be able to adjust the time speed while accounting for things like drawl or just too fast talking. There should almost be an AI way to like switch Alex to half-time speed without it sounding a bit like a drunken drawl. There should be a way for the AI to smooth it out and sound normal. You'd think, right? What do you think of the new X-Men? Paul Wooten, what do you think? No, wait, I'm behind. Matthew Nergan, I may have missed it, but I see your copy of Skyrim. Are we getting an unboxing? Well, not on this live stream, although honestly, a live stream unboxing is not the craziest thing to do. But either way, I hope to unbox this later today. That's my current plan. We'll see if that happens. Either this or Mosaic. because I want to play both of them. The question is which one do I want to play first, and I don't have the energy for 2 unboxings in the same day, because unboxings have a rambling attached to it, and I like it to be natural, and if I try to do 2 unboxings in a day, then the second rambling starts to feel a little more forced. So I try to do more than one a day. I'll do like 5 videos a day, but only 1 unboxing a day. Eric Moon, does PAX Unplugged have a sign-up sheet for Learn to Play, or just first come, first serve? I do not know the answer to that. Paul Witten, what do you think of the new X-Men Marvel Champion stuff? Have not played it. Successful, I'm taking 1 game to Game Night this week. Should I take Messina 1347 or Inish? Well, I love Inish, so I'm going to choose that. Alex Volakis, will you be covering Aeon's Trespass Odyssey? A friend of mine has it backed and looking forward to testing it. I played Aeon's Trespass Odyssey doing the prototype stage, like post-Kickstarter. I thought it was incredibly ambitious, incredibly cool, and way too much content, and in a genre that doesn't appeal to me as much. The theme and the stylings, the kind of Kingdom Death Monster darkness to it, is not as much my jam. So the short answer is, I don't think I'm getting Aeon's Trespass Odyssey or covering it. Zalabel, loving the idea for the new games WSBG tournament. Will it be better if players are talked through the turns a bit like when you play a game? You're saying in general WSBG if they talk through the turns? So the part of the problem is you have to be mindful of the fact that this is like if you watch poker too, or any high-stakes gaming. Talking through your turns is great for a friendly vibe, but it could be a little much for a competitive scene. In fact, talking through your turns would almost have to be misinformation for it to be worth doing in a competitive scene. That's the downside. That's one of the reasons you have commentators, because we can all do that behind the scenes, but the players are not really going through what goes on there. Zalbao, this year commentary didn't get me involved, so I quit watching after 5 minutes. Zalbao, I'd be interested to see what games you watched. One of the things that I think is actually a mistake, and like I have notes, WSBG, one of the things they did is they sent out a request for feedback from a variety of people, both people who played as well as people who were involved in the event. And I'll be getting back to them with my feedback, but one of the things I think they did not do a good job of is they kind of just assigned commentators to games instead of having the commentators pick which games to be matched up to. So for instance, I commentated on Acquire. I've played Acquire, but I could have done a much better job commenting on, let's say, Seven Wonders, which I've played a lot more of. And I think it would be a good idea to match commentators to the games that they actually know how to play. It's one of my many pieces of feedback. I think overall, WSBG did a fantastic job, and I really loved it, and I think for a first-year event, it was very solid. But there's a ton of areas that they know that they can clean up on, and will be doing so. Or at least will be attempting to do so. I can't say if they will. Successful Geek, I really want to play Mosaic. So do I, Successful. It's a good game. Sydney Johnson, I love Rob Florida for miniature painting, and to be sure, I set him on 2x speed. Most people you put on 2x speed, they're not too much. I can be a bit too much on 2x speed. Corey Christensen, AI speed, slow, that sounds like an audio equivalent of Uncanny Valley. Only if done poorly, Corey. If you can come up with whatever kind of weird stuff they're doing with AI art at this point, it shouldn't be the hardest thing to naturally slow down a person, although I guess hand motions might be like, I don't know. I'm not going to try to pretend to do it. Carson Simmons, I've gone through a third of it, so yeah. Oh, Gloomhaven. Got it. Board Game Officer, I didn't think too much about you talking fast until I watched one of Devin's live videos. Don't get me wrong, I love both of you guys, but it doesn't talk nearly as fast. Yeah, in general, the differences are more notable when you put me next to another person, almost inherently, because unless I slow down, and I guess not always, because the truth is, if I'm talking live by myself for 50 minutes, then I'm going at my own speed the whole time. Whereas I'm talking with somebody else, sometimes there is a degree of matching the conversation, so that could slow me down a bit. I don't know. Either way, I'm fast. That's all what it comes down to. Zalbao, Mosaic first, please, before the Kickstarter add-on starts. Zalbao, fine. Sounds like a plan. I'll be unboxing Mosaic. Let's put Skyrim away. I'll be unboxing Mosaic later today, apparently. Assuming my box isn't damaged. I haven't even opened the cardboard part yet. But I'll be unboxing Mosaic today, and maybe it'll go up soon. And then hopefully I'll have a gameplay. I want to do a solo gameplay for like a Wednesday video, but that'll happen at some point. Zalbao, no, Swabme. Hello, gamers. Good morning, Swabme. How are you doing? Eric, when you see the new Castle Mad King Ludwig Second Edition? Yeah, that's going to be coming to Kickstarter, I believe, or... Oh wait, no, there's an expansion coming to Kickstarter. I don't know exactly what's happening. Matt Kutrick, got Mosaic Colossal Edition that comes with all the minis and the thick, nice cardboard pieces. Ever find it hard to put a cardboard into the trash recycling when you have a mini replacement? Matt, I am one of those people that does not find it hard at all to throw out the cardboard extras and stuff. I generally find that I don't like keeping extra stuff. And so a good example is Wonderland's War. Wonderland's War, I threw out all the standees because I have the miniatures. And some people were like, well, what if you want the standees because they are colored and your miniatures aren't painted? And I was like, that's true, but I'm never going to select that. So I don't know who exactly is selecting that. And they're like, well, what if you sell it to the next person and they want the standees? And I was like, I will live with the fact that my copy will have to be sold to somebody who doesn't want the standees. In general, I don't like keeping extra stuff. I don't like keeping just unnecessary. I don't like keeping expansion boxes. I don't like keeping extra tokens. My basement is enough of a mess on an ongoing basis, and you don't see the mess part. The mess part is behind the camera. This part's like the semi-neat part. But my basement is enough of an ongoing mess with board games that trying to keep extra stuff is just not worth it. Zalbao, know that we covered that. Matt, Mosaic, nope, we covered that too. Sean, what do you think Mosaic with 2 or 3 players? I tried it with the solo bot and enjoyed it, but not without that. I have played Mosaic at 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players. I have not played it at 5. I think it plays 5, right? Does it play 5? Does it play 6? I don't remember. But I played at 2, 3, and 4. And so, what's it called? I played it at 2, 3, and 4 players, and for that, Wards. I really liked it at 2. I really liked it at 3. And I really liked it at 4. So honestly, no real preference. I think it was really solid at all player counts. 2 definitely suffered in terms of the area control, but the game was the fastest. So there's that trade-off there. Like, I played a 2-player game in like an hour. Reed McCullough, putting Skyrim on the floor is like sheathing your sword. Yes, it is. Eric Moon, still waiting for my Mosaic to deliver. Successful Geek, I kept the standees just for WW, just so when someone wants to paint them, they have the color schemes. Ooh, that's fun. Professor Meg, I would have done art with the Wonderlands War bits. Okay, so Meg, we can handle this because of what Successful said. Successful, can you send your standees to Meg because she wants to do art with them, apparently. Also, Meg, I'm sorry, next time I throw out standees, I'll check with you first. Iglan, it looked great for playing the games, but as a competition, looked very luck dependent. Fine in one game, but a competition needs a bit of mitigation. Say everyone gets 3 games and top X go through. Iglan, funny you mentioned that. There may or may not be things to... There are conversations happening around that. No guarantees, but there are certainly conversations around that. K. Smith, I got you on 0.75 speed. That's a good choice. Not too drunk, just a little drunk. Benjamin Curtis, I'm hard of hearing, and you are one of the easier content creators I can understand. The irony. That is ironic, actually. Roundbeard, can GameFan provide feedback to companies to not make half the game exclusives? I hate it when half the game is Kickstarter exclusive. I will never own Marvel United because of this. Roundbeard, I hear you. I do not think GameFan's getting involved in that side of the conversation. Marshall, sorry if I missed it. Are you reviewing Tiletum? No current plans right now. I have like 50 review games to get through, and like it's annoying because like I review like 5 games a week and I just cannot keep up. Again, these are good problems to have. These are not real issues at all. But yeah, I have a lot of games to cover in my backlog. Like even today, I plan on filming 4 or 5 reviews. There's just so many games to cover. You cannot keep up. The Dice Tower is the only channel that can actually keep up with all the games that need to be reviewed, and that's because they have like 50 people doing it. Not 50. They have like 4 main, like, no, not 4 main. They have like 6 main people, plus a bunch of people who do videos for them. I don't think I will... I don't know. Maybe one day, between having Devin on board and between having Devin and Meg, I don't know what the plans are. I don't feel the need to cover everything, but I think it's cool that we have a channel, the Dice Tower, that covers everything. And I think it would be cool if there was more than one channel doing that. But also, I don't want to sign myself up for that homework, so I don't know. Listen, Dice Tower's been around for 14 years. I've been around for 3 years. We have a lot of time to figure things out. Reed McCullough. I don't consider myself a competitor to the Dice Tower, to be very clear. Reed McCullough, Professor Meg, you'll be painting Marvel United Minis till 2024. You have no extra time. That is true. Although, Reed, I don't think she's saying painting. I think she was saying she's going to use the standees for some sort of art project, like making a wall thing or something. I don't know exactly. I don't think it was painting-wise. Nidamer PL. Nidamer PL. I'm up for Mosaic content since I skipped the original campaign. That and Zyra lurk on my radar. Yeah, maybe... Oh my gosh. When can I do an unboxing? I don't know. I can film the unboxing today. I don't know when it goes up. We'll have to figure it out. Paradox. Did you get to compete in Blood Rage at WSBG? I did not compete in Blood Rage because going back to earlier in this conversation in the stream, I believe that as far as Blood Rage. As far as Blood Rage goes, I did not compete in Blood Rage because the problem is if I actually win, I'm signed up for like the entire day's worth of content, which is a problem. So no plans to compete in Blood Rage at the moment. K. Smith. Did anyone kingmake in the WSBG? I did wonder about that, actually. I wonder, because kingmaking is something that can happen in games, and sometimes it's not even the player's fault, it just is what it is. I didn't hear anyone complaining about it, but it certainly can be a problem. Successful Geek. Oh crap, Mosaic expansion launches tomorrow. That sounds right. The 14th, 13th? 13th, that sounds right. Yeah, I think so. Successful Geek, I don't even have my copy yet. Sorry, Successful. Swebme, I think Tantrum House is the closest Dice Tower in ability to cover games. Swebme, instinctively I want to disagree with you. I'd have to go check it out, but I don't think they have... Could I do this now? Give me a second. Give me a second here. 1 second. Let's see. 1 second. So I'm just checking a stat. Give me 1 sec. Dun dun dun. Tantrum House. And if I go to the channel, Let's see. Sorry for the pause here. Videos. Yeah, so... Okay, cool. I was just checking something up. Basically, Tantrum House has 27 videos for the past 30 days. Yeah, it's a little stat I have. I have a little analytics stat I use. Tantrum House has 27 videos for the past 7 days. 27. Okay, that's not nearly enough to keep up with all the games out there. Not even remotely close. Dice Tower has something like, I have to double check it, but it's something like, you know, I don't know, 220 or something like that. Dice Tower has the most videos in the channel by far. Then from there, Rado has, I believe, around 75 a month roughly. But also that number should be halved because they divide gameplay and final thoughts. So really it's around 37 games being covered. I have, I believe, around 50 videos a month, or something like that, 55, but also not all of them are reviews. So in practical terms, since I do 5 reviews a week, I'm doing around 30 reviews a week, which is actually more than, I guess, Tantrum House's full 27 videos. So Tantrum House does do a lot, but I don't think they're comparable to Dice Tower. Dun dun dun, also really like it. No, okay, Professor Meg for my diorama. Yep, not painting. Gratuitous catalog. Also, really like Dice Tower seems to be going out of its way to try and get multiple voices of opinions in games as well. Not just getting everything, but good coverage. Yes, Dice Tower is incredible. They make it hard for anyone to be competitive, except for the fact that, like, I mean, it makes it hard. It makes it hard in a good way. I like what Dice Tower is doing. I think it's incredible, and I love the fact that almost all their videos have shifted to like these multiple opinions, which is my favorite form of video content. Also, it's 11 o'clock. I have to wrap this up. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to wrap up these last questions. Let's see where we are. Zalbel, me neither. They promised to keep late pledge open for Mosaic expansion, so we have time to test. They did promise that. Sydney Johnson, I doubt you encounter anyone that backs all Painted and Awakened Realms campaigns, but I wanted to let you know they have really improved dramatically how they are shipped and stored over the last 2 years. That's good to know. Those pledges are expensive, so that's very good to know. Professor Meg, diorama, you really are creating a museum, aren't you? Yes, indeed. Benjamin Curtis, if I have Gloomhaven Jaws of the Line to finish and Ice Guard coming, would Mage Knight Ultimate Edition provide a unique enough experience to dive into? If you have the time for it, yes. Professor Meg, swap me, it would be so lovely. K. Smith, I would king make for you. Oh my gosh, that would not be fun. That would be bad. I don't want this on record. I'll have to delete that comment. Swap me, love that you have the data at your fingertips. Fun conversation. Yeah, I have a lot of data. I do like data. It's one of the things I used to do at my old job as COO of my old company is analytics. I did a ton of analytics and I love looking at data. So from day one with YouTube, I've been very data driven. Brownbeard, more Ice of Vanguard gameplay. I was watching the prototype for You and the Duck from a year ago. Awesome game. I hope so. I don't know exactly. Board Game Officer, any 2-second advice for someone wanting to start board game content on YouTube? Oh my gosh, there's nothing with 2 seconds. The fastest I would give you is, in order to start content creation on YouTube, if your goal is to build an audience, you have to either be different or better. And lucky. Not or lucky, and lucky. You have to be different, better, and lucky. So you either want to pick something that other people aren't doing or an approach that people aren't doing, or you need to be better at it. And those are hard things. Every single year, it is harder and harder to break out into the YouTube space in any industry, but board games as well, because, again, like I say this a lot, I do think I put in the work, I do think I put in the time, I do think I did a lot, but I also got lucky. Those are definitely things that are true. And I'm not saying don't do it. Again, Chris George from Room and Board, fantastic job, also broke into the space. There's a lot of channels, not just him. I'm just happy to be mentioning him because of all the WSBG stuff, but there's a lot of opportunity to continue to break out, but it is going to take work and effort and energy and time. The biggest thing as well is time. You need to be consistent, you need to put in the work, and you need to understand that for the first 3 months, if you get 20 views for video, you're probably doing pretty good. It will take time, it will take energy, there's a lot going on there. But that's my closest I have to 2 seconds. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I have a call that I'm popping onto that I may or may not be invited to. And so I will see you all next Wednesday. I'll be back here as usual next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure I will. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all of you very much. And as always, I hope you have a good one. And now I'm going to awkwardly shuffle over to the end stream button.